We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
What do you want to do now, Captain?
The same thing we always do. Fight them until we can't.
Oh my God, does it feel good to be back watching that intro and stepping onto the bridge of this virtual ship, I suppose, as it were. It's been, oh God, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I've lost track of time, you guys, honestly, because there has been so much turmoil in my life, from the night that I had to leave my house for the last time to just bolt here on very short notice, like essentially a moment's notice, because this was the only place I had to go. And yes, I am coming to you live right now, not from a studio, not from an apartment. I still don't have a roof over my head yet. I'm sitting in the middle of a hotel because I'm living out of a hotel right now. And this is how life's going to be for the foreseeable future until something opens up. I got some bad news yesterday, at the tail end of yesterday. Realistically, based on my debt to income ratio, my credit report, I'm probably a good 10 months to a year out from even sniffing a real chance at a mortgage loan. So I'm going to have to put home ownership out of my mind for a little while. So I'm down basically to searching for apartments, and that hasn't gone well because everywhere that I've looked, whether it's this state, here in Ohio, or it's somewhere else, there are waiting lists a mile long to get into rentals right now. And it's the reality of the situation. So I'm stuck.
Well, Drew, we would just like to say here at Tommy and the Gremlin and Guinea Pig Collective that we had absolutely nothing to do with your bad credit report. Even though we get into a lot of things and we do screw a lot of things up, we didn't do this one to you.
No, you didn't. No, listen, I'm working on things because, this is, even in the midst of all of this, all of the tough breaks right now, I've gotten a lot of stuff caught up. I've gotten a lot of stuff paid off. I was able to make the final installment payment on my mom's funeral. and everything else. So, things are starting to feel like there's progress being made. And that's all that I can ask for. I want to publicly thank Will for all of his help. I want to go down the list of people in the chat here because it's important that I thank you guys. Tobat, I want to publicly thank him. He has been a huge help behind the scenes to me. I want everybody to give Michael Torres a warm welcome. Mike is the manager, and he runs the storage facility where all of my stuff is stored at. Mike took the time out to allow me to store some of my stuff in his personal unit out there when I overran my storage space, and I owe him a big thanks. He helped me.
Just real quick, Drew, we'd like to apologize for all the gremlins that you had to store in his storage space. We promised that we would make good use of it.
Thank you. And CJ's here, and it's great to see you, CJ. I want to thank Rita. Rita has been a huge help, both Rita and Dwayne. Love you guys. Joe, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Radioactive is here. Tina Bojan is here. Tina, thank you for being here, and thank you for modding. Sean Estep is here. And like I said, Radioactive is here. Papa Cotton is here. What's going on? Papa Cotton, you colonizer, it is great to see you as well. And thank you to all of you folks for the help. All those that have reached out and helped behind the scenes. All of you guys. Yep. And I guess
we would like to apologize. Once again, some of my brethren are over at Will's place causing a ruckus, and he is being yelled at right now because of it.
It really sounded like people were about to break his door down. Hail to Ruben Christopher Haynes. Yeah, Ruben, I know you've been in a tough boat as well. But, there has been quite a bit of an uphill battle, you guys. But learning, just living in this hotel, and I know I haven't been too active on Twitter, but actually, living here and people watching has been pretty fascinating. I'll tell you that. So, those of you that saw that tweet the other day that liked that tweet, yeah. I mean, I could do a whole thing just about people watching, but we got a lot going on, and there's a lot happening in our world. And even though I haven't been live streaming, I have been paying attention, and we are going to run down the latest today. I know a lot of the usual crew aren't with us. Janet is unavailable. Trina and her husband are headed out, I believe, tonight. So,
real quick, Drew, as you say, we're going to run it down. I would just like to say that we did not cut any break lines whatsoever before this rundown happened.
All right. So I guess the biggest elephant that's in the room right now is
you shouldn't talk about Will like that.
Stay tuned, folks. I'll have something to say.
The biggest thing, though, and I have two separate mindsets on the topic, but we get to the thing off the top about the intelligence leak, and everybody is hammering on this kid that leaked this info. Jack Teixeira is his name. And I want to say I'm of two mindsets, like I said, and here's why. The worst place, and if you guys have followed my writing career, back in late 2019. I wrote an article for Bounding Into Comics. It's still up there. If you go into the archives, just look for my name, Drew Taylor, on their site, and you can find. I wrote an article about Tencent and the stake that they had. And Tencent is a major Chinese company with a lot of holdings in America, also in the tech sector worldwide, also in the entertainment sector. I mean, they own a ton of things, and they have a big stake in Discord, which is why I wanted to find a way to get out of Discord, which eventually we did, as most of you know, that a lot of us went to Gilded, but Discord is probably not the place to share that kind of information. Now that
I was talking about the problems with Discord, like, goddamn, almost a year ago, is why I pretty much just let my account go dormant. Because there's a lot of problem with a lot of like hacks and everything going on. I can't even tell you how many times I've got notification from Discord saying that somebody from either some other part of the country or from some other continent is actually supposedly logged into my Discord. And it was part of the reason why I just completely disconnected when they put up the new terms and services, which were sounded very much like a old Twitter and the way YouTube runs everything, where they pretty much have say over everything you post in there. It was why I refused to accept those agreements, and why my Discord is still just technically locked out, and I refuse to go into it. So for all those idiots that are out there trying to hack into my Discord, good luck. You can't get into it, dummies.
Well, Discord is not fucking secure. Okay, that's a given. Discord is not secure. So you don't want to share a lot of sensitive info over Discord. Now, if you're just having it there to have like a community where you post general announcements, where, you put together a shit posting thread, people are sharing memes, people are just chatting. Well, that's one thing. But man, you do not want to share sensitive information of any kind over Discord. No payment details, no nothing.
No, I mean, the problem with Discord too, Drew, is they're looking into everything that everybody says, and they actually said they don't even care if it's a private server between friends. If you post something in that private server they don't like, they're coming after you.
Yeah, that too. But the thing is, all right, to bring it home, that's mistake number one that the kid made, was sharing that kind of information on Discord. Number two, the stuff with troop movements, I don't feel like he needed to really make that public. That is a no-no. That's one thing every service member knows. My late father had a top secret crypto clearance. He took every secret he knew with him throughout his military career to the grave. So, and when you have a top secret clearance, that's understood that that's what you do. Now, in this day and age, with what we're up against, on one hand, the kid should be lauded as being a hero because he exposed the out and out bullshit of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That was number one. Okay? And Tolbad is correct. We shouldn't, and listen, there might be reasons for it, but if they're involved in active combat on the hush-hush, then yeah, there should not be troop movements in there. Now, if there's a couple garrisons there to monitor and observe, then, that is another thing. But, just anything that has, people's names that can put lives in jeopardy and things like that, that is information that needs to be shared out. If you're going to whistleblow, there's a certain way to blow the whistle on things. And one of it is, you redact names, you redact stuff that will get people killed. And then if you want to blow the whistle on something and put out some general info that people don't know that they probably need to know, that's okay. Go ahead. But you got to redact the stuff that, could potentially blow back on individuals, get people killed. But but by and large, I do believe that, while this kid might have been sharing it with the group, he might not even have intended for it to be shared for public consumption. Or maybe he did. But either way, there was some important things that he got out and a lot of the reason they want to crucify this young man is because of the fact that he shattered the narrative on some things. And the globalists that are running the show, that are running everything, aren't happy. They're not happy about that. Because anytime somebody exposes the real truth, they don't take kindly to it, especially if it ruins the plans.
Well, I don't know. I think to a degree they have gotten to the point now that they feel so confident in everything that they've put into place that they're not overly worried about a lot of this stuff, quite honestly. Because we see the reports coming about some of the stuff that Klaus Schwab wants to do, where he wants to put further restrictions on people as far as water, saying that it's not a what did he say? It's not a human necessity. It's not a human right to have water now. Like he doesn't care. They don't care. They're not trying to suppress that information at this point. Why they don't care anymore? Because they brainwash so much of the masses now at this point that they feel that people are just going to willingly accept it.
Well, they
it's
have.
Funny. I'm sorry, Drew, but it's funny. I once said this, and I maybe I was being facetious, maybe I wasn't, but I always believed that one day water would end up being a commodity such as gold or pork bellies, and it seems like that's starting to manifest itself through this whole Klaus Schwab thing.
Well, you got to remember, and listen, everybody that's watching right now, everyone in this chat understands, all right, from Radioactive to Sean Estep to Rita to Tolbat, everybody in this chat understands what exactly the plan is, what they are trying to do. They are trying to make resources a commodity that only the elite can have. Unless you have money, you won't have access. Unless you accept the hoops that they want you to jump through to be in the access club, you will not have access.
Well, Drew,
Okay.
their soft boot for this, for everything that they want to do with the restrictions on commodities and goods to the normal people, they already did it with all the restrictions and lockdowns that they placed almost worldwide. That was their soft boot, just to see, hey, let's see how well we can get people to just accept this as this is. And that was their soft run at it. And now that they know that they could do it once, they're going to do it again. But this time, those restrictions are not going to be lifted.
Yep. And that's the thing, Tommy. They'll just do it without saying that there's a lockdown this time. They'll just implement them. And they're trying to implement them through legislation. It has nothing to do with a lockdown anymore. They're just trying to go through, and that's why, they're installing, that's why they have all of these people in place at the top levels of leadership in every country. It's to get this type of legislation passed. The common thread in all of the legislation that they're passing is that it creates a society like that. A scarcity society. They want people like desperate, destitute, and everything else, in only a small percentage able to have what we would consider even normal creature comforts now. They don't want anybody to have even the necessities: food, water, shelter, anything. And we're so far out of the realm of conspiracy theory. I mean, it's just facts. Tiny Metal Trees, hail to you, buddy. He said it's already like that, and he's exactly right.
I can't remember.
Go ahead,
Tommy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Will.
I just wanted to point out that I can't remember the last time that anything we talked about on the show could even be, put into the same stratosphere as the term conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean,
it was actually more fun back when it was that way, because talking about these, like, wouldn't it be awful if that happened? I mean, well, you're saying it could happen. Well, it could, but it hasn't yet. But no, not anymore.
I mean,
we're talking about things that actually are happening right now.
Well, look what's happening down under. Their dollar has tanked. And the price of gas is going through the roof. That is coming our way. That is coming our way again. And they're already ringing the bells for a big recession on the way.
And don't forget, all of this is where, we talk about the influence of China and China being emboldened. Now, look, it's all but a foregone conclusion that they are going after Taiwan. They are definitely going after Taiwan. That is a given. That's going to happen within the next probably year and a half. I'll give it a year and a half. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's going to happen by 27." It's not even going to take up to 27. This will be in the next year and a half. They're gonna do it. The Chinese are gonna make their play soon, and we are gonna be dragged into a war with them. Unless we get another progressive Democrat gets in there, and they just completely ignore Taiwan and leave them to die, and then that makes us look even worse. I mean, it's a no-win situation. Our country has been put in a no-win situation on the world stage, in everything. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I tell you what, what's really scary about everything that's going on in this country right now, Drew, as far as all this stuff is concerned, is the way that they've brainwashed the youth at this point, that they think that anything that is conservative in view, and especially Republicans, are all evil. And you've got these millennials and everything else dropping videos talking about, we're going to make sure that you never get back at all. We're voting Democrat right down the bill. So now we're looking at almost a no-win situation at this point. So unless the majority of people in this country wake up and actually do something to move these people out of office and get some people in there that are actually going to do good for the country, probably the best hope that many of us are going to have is to start looking at people that are more hardline or center line Democrats, like people like Kennedy or somebody like that. And it's sad to have to say that might be the best option, but that's what it's starting to look like at this point, the way that they are pushing everything.
Well, go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm on the bottom. No, it's amazing how it seems like every year it gets less and less important. No. Every year the presidential election seems to get, with the exception of the party that goes in, bears less and less of importance. And I'll be the one to say it. This is it goes beyond the biggest office there is, and it is all about not just the Senate and the House, but state Senate elections, gubernatorial elections, mayoral elections, the state house. I mean, it all starts at the bottom. It always rises to the top from the bottom. I mean, you can't just put the guy you want as president in there and expect everything to get better immediately.
Well, you're right about that. And really quickly, I just want to thank everybody that, again, when I was thanking everyone for all the help behind the scenes, I also want to thank everybody that donated to the Give Send Go and helped out on that end. And, obviously that has been closed now, but if you do want to continue to help the channel here and there, obviously, I have super chats that are eligible. I also have, I do believe I have my channel memberships on. And, you can always use this handy dandy link if you want to use the Stream Elements tip page to tip the channel. that works too. So Papa Cotton says historically the silent majority is absolutely inconsequential to major events. Yeah, because it takes a more hands-on approach. It really does. And I talk to people like Steeg. I talk to people in other countries, and they said, man, you Americans are missing the window. Why would you not, the evil that's happening. Why would you not overthrow your corrupt government? I have people that from other countries that ask me that.
Well, Drew, you know what the biggest problem is? And we all know what the biggest problem is when it comes to voting. The cities where the majority of these Democratic voters are sitting are getting the most points in the Electoral College and everything else. They're the ones that have a little bit more sway in the elections. Now, most of the people that are, like Papa says, a silent majority, most of them are in rural areas, and rural areas don't garner as much weight in elections. It's just a sad fact. And even though they are the majority, they are literally the silent majority because they don't count as much.
No, you're right, and it just it sucks, dude. And listen, I don't want to jump on the abolish electoral college train because you need it. That's the buffer because you don't want the you don't want that working in reverse where it's just because if you take that away, then Boston, New York, and LA are going to run the country. Radioactive says white people in the U.S. won't do anything. Give them bread and circuses. Yes. Papa Cotton says the smallest, most wackadoo minority runs this country without consequence to themselves or fear of wielding every power in their grasp. Yeah, I mean, listen. The reason that they brainwashed you and came up with like the little racist shell game, come up with that whole nonsense, the whole idea of all the equity bullshit, the idea of, we don't need meritocracy. It is based on the color of your skin, even though Martin Luther King, and I was having this conversation with Mike the other day when we were smoking a cigarette, we were talking about that, and I was telling him, yeah, it's funny how Martin Luther King was saying it ain't about the color of your skin, it's about how everybody treats each other. It's the essence of a man's character. Well, that went out the window. There ain't no more meritocracy. They turned it in reverse because it's a dividing line. That's exactly why they wanted it. Then, the thing, well, it's not a new place. Awesome one. I'm sitting in the middle of a hotel. I'm living out of a hotel, and it sucks. But to get back to my thought, yeah.
Drew, real quick, did you see Rita's comment at 5:52?
Let me go back up.
It's kind of in the same vein of what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. She said, Rita says, my youngest daughter was brainwashed in college, and now she's on her own and realizing what's going on. She has completely changed. She is based now, thank God. Yeah, and that's the thing. But not enough people have woken up because they've been under constant attack. Papa Cotton's right. Constant diversion of the masses. That's exactly what's been happening. You've had PSYOP after PSYOP after PSYOP, many of them still in play that are shaping and beating down on people's brains. So they discourage free thought, and they're able to literally recondition people, rewire people's brains to reject, what should be normal.
That's exactly why they've been pushing the whole trans agenda fad right now. And really, it is a fad at this point because it came up out of nowhere with this, like, everybody feels like they've got a pronoun, and this is all part of that freaking fake trans agenda movement. And they brainwash people enough to the point where the Republicans and anybody conservative is now the enemy to them because it is going to cause problems for their chosen agenda.
Yeah, and isn't it funny, and we can blow the lid off the trans thing, y'all. Look, the first trans people, and I've said this before because it's historical fact. It was a Mengele experiment, okay? It was Joseph Mengele that experimented on people. It was part of that diabolical shit that the Nazis were trying to do. Yeah, awesome one. I actually saw the O'Keefe footage where he confronted Dylan Mulvaney. That was great. But and hail to our boy 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. What's up, Nick? But that it should tell you that underneath all of this, quote, progressivism, it's nothing more than redressed Nazi ideology. All of this stuff is based on the final solution, whole agenda of the Nazis. It's the same thing that they had. And even the Nazi movement was born out of this general depopulationist ideal. It's
grassroots. We're in 100% fascism.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny. They're branding it a different way, Tommy, because it's essentially like what I would consider, and I call it socio-communism. But what it is, it's a more fascist style because it is totalitarian. But they don't want you to see that it's totalitarian because you're going in with your free will, or that's how they pat themselves on their conscience. Oh, well, we just nudge them in a certain direction. They're going into it of their free will. No, you're not. This is based all on the principle of depopulating the planet. You think about it, folks. It's simple. They wouldn't push abortion unless they wanted to kill people. They wouldn't push, euthanizing seniors unless they wanted to kill people. They wouldn't push this thing like they have in Canada. And hail, punk rock country mom, love you, Tara. And the Canadians we have in the chat can speak to this. There would be no maids hotline or things like that because there wouldn't be a need to kill people, but they have that there because they want to kill people. They are obsessed with this idea of having the world population be at a certain number so that they can rule with absolute power. That's exactly what it boils down to.
No, the easiest analogy is looking at a classroom of students. It's much easier to control and teach a smaller classroom of students than it is a larger one.
Well, Tobat brings up an interesting point. He says, exposing children to sex and sexual ideology is abuse, and everyone doing this should be arrested and thrown in jail. Kids do not need to learn about being gay or straight, or have gender confusion at all. Tobat, not at that age. And
really, what's the next step? Do we say if a kid decides that he's a dinosaur, are we going to sit there and splice that kid's DNA with dinosaur DNA to turn him into a lizard? Where does it stop with this idiocy?
Hail, Basco, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you. RR is here. Hail, RR. The shit that goes viral and it's covered in lamestream is what they want you to see to distract from real activities. And you guys are 100% spot on. A lot of this, and Will knows this. Hell, Will and I have sat here. Last night, Will, when we got back from bowling, and we just had the TV on for a second, and we're watching the newscast. I mean, the stuff, the way that they present it, the over the top sensationalism is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. You know,
you want me to
and
See,
that's
I did it again.
And that's the thing. I mean,
Prompt me and I'll talk.
Go ahead.
And I'll talk.
Go ahead, Will, because you know it.
What exactly was that show? Do you have to remember the title of it?
Well, no, I had the news on before I switched to that, and I'm talking just about the news.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. You know, it's really how I hate to detract from this but it's kind of the same stuff. It's how I learned about government control through the media, and really, you know, being a little younger than you, it really hit me after 9/11. 9/11, well, Columbine and 9/11. It started with Columbine, where the stories were about like all what makes a kid want to shoot up a school, whether it be Marilyn Manson or playing violent video games. Then 9/11 happens, and it's all the ways that you're not safe and that you can't protect yourself. And it's just the sensationalism by the media is obviously a direct result of the people pulling the strings in Washington. And it's just nothing but scare tactics. Yeah, I remember watching that last night and thinking to myself, I got to make sure no one's out in the bushes trying to do the same thing to us, which is exactly what they want.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Scary.
man.
Fucked up and scary.
You know, and listen, the woke crowd wants to try to paint the picture that, you know, the majority, like us, the normal citizens, all right, you know, a lot of us now, those of us that understand what's going on, we're not caught in the whole left-right paradigm. We might lean one thing or another based on our values and our morals, but we're not caught in the left-right paradigm. We're free thinkers. We understand, you know, everybody's going to have different takes on everything, and that's cool. But the radicalization that's happening is coming from the progressives. And they like to tell us that we're radicalized, but they're the ones radicalized. When you have trans people talking about coming out and just killing people because, oh, these bigots are transphobic, they're not going to learn until they die. You know, well, you know, look, I want to see one of them panty waist fairies try to come at me. Seriously, try to come at me.
Come at me, bro.
You know, I mean, because, God, you know, I mean, I look like a fucking Asian midget, but even I can break one of them over my knee, for fuck's sakes.
Remember the good old days where all the kind of people that would do that look more like me?
You know, I don't know. You said it.
I'll tell you what, Drew.
Listen.
If you want to have a good conversation with some of these weirdos, especially when they're talking about how they want to instruct kids on sexualization, just ask them this. If it shouldn't be for kids over 18, then can we allow kids to be smokers and drinkers and maybe fly off buildings because they think that they're Superman? Let's give them a push, shall we? Maybe that kid identifies as a chain smoker. You don't know. Don't be a bigot. Tell them that next time that they push this stuff. And another thing, as far as the trans people, how can you claim that you're a trans woman? Because trans means transitioning. Are you in a constant state of transitioning? Because then if you are, then don't claim that you're a woman. You can destroy the narrative very easily like that because these people are complete morons.
Well, there is, I mean, you know, Tommy, and as funny as that was.
What was that thing, by the way?
That's Gremlins, dude.
That's right. Yeah, he took
Jeez, oh,
Gremlin
man.
off. My short-term memory is fucking with me again. Sorry.
Um,
I now don't have the vernacular and the diction of a gremlin. Thanks, Tommy.
Mr. Short-Term Memory.
yeah,
That was
but
a great
the
sketch.
but the thing is, you know, Tommy, you were right, spot on with that. You know, even though that was funny the way that you brought the point across, but no, you were 100% spot on because there is no transitioning. All right. It's a fucking fantasy world. You know, we understand that because we understand as human beings the differences between biological men and women. We're here to accomplish, you know, two things. Women make our dinners and they procreate with us. You know, that's the thing. So we're here to procreate the race. That's the point of men having different parts than women. When you start when you start pushing self-mutilation and everything else, guess what happens? Then, you know, people stop procreating the race like they're naturally supposed to.
Oh,
When
once
you re-
again, going back to the point that Brainy made because it was so well said. Congratulations, Brainy. It's so nice to have the Gremlins be part of the Guinea Pig Collective. But no, that point being made, what he was talking about is spot on for one other reason. Look what they're pushing in some of these states where they're actually saying that a kid doesn't even need to get permission from a parent, that they could run away, go get gender affirming surgery and care without even notifying the parent, and that kid would wind up being this under the state as a ward. Like,
It doesn't even have to come to that anymore, Tommy. Did you see what happened in Washington today?
Well,
Did you
yeah,
see that ruling?
that's what they said. A kid can run away and go get this care, and the state will protect it.
The state will be more than happy so the kid doesn't have to run away and live on the streets. The state will be more than happy to come and take your child, so he'll have a roof over his head and do all of that.
Right, well, right, but that's all part of the same thing. Will, it's all part of that same thing. I mean, once again,
if I'm a child and I run away, what are the odds that I'm actually going to be able to sleep with anything but a bridge over my head that night?
Well, when the government comes and takes the child out of the home, now that's kidnapping. Actually, because
Yeah,
now you're going against the will of the parent. Because if a parent is not responsible, why did they start pushing that shit in the 80s that every parent was responsible for the kid, especially if they went to school and said that the parent was beating them or hurting them in some way, and all of a sudden there would be an investigation in that parent? How do I know about that? Because that happened with my daughter when she was going to school. She had joked about something to one of her classmates. They brought it to the damn teacher. The teacher went to the freaking principal. They sent somebody to investigate me, saying that I was beating my child. And my daughter even said, no, I was joking about that. And they said, well, we have to investigate it now. Like, really? Really? So you're telling me that some yahoo in a school could just claim whatever they want because they heard something in passing from another student, and now you're going to investigate me like I'm a common criminal? You can kiss my ass. By the time it was over, not only did I cuss out the person that came to investigate me, I called up the school and I cussed all them out.
Good.
I went into a meeting with the teacher in question and the freaking principal of the school and continued to cuss them out in person as well, to the point my daughter said that they heard somebody yelling up in their classroom on the second floor, and they said, oh, I wonder who that is. And my daughter said she put her head down on the desk. She says, that's my father.
Okay, first of all, I'm sorry I made you recant that horrible episode. Actually, I hate to say this to a certain extent. I'm glad I did it because I'm glad you actually, you can maybe enlighten people through what I call the theory of the finger gun with a cop with a cop present, which obviously means you do this in front of a cop. That cop's going to take out his 9 and plug you in the leg, at the very least in the leg, if you're lucky, in the leg. So, but at the same time, it's at the very least, and please don't take this the wrong way, Tommy. At the very least, they at least had the right, their hearts and their intentions were in the right place. You can't really even say that anymore.
Well, I would say that to agree if they followed the proper channels by just coming and checking, but they kept going on about it though. They tried to make this a big deal for a while. Like even after the investigator came and said there's nothing there, they still tried to push that narrative. When I went to talk to him in person, is why I flipped out on him. I mean, if I thought I could have got away with it, I would have
find a better example than you. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe they just we still got this guy. We could still spin this.
Oh well, I'm sure part of it is just the way I look because I got the little goatee going on, I got the earrings, I got the tattoos. Oh, he just looks like a bad person. Once again, you judge a book by its cover. You go right ahead with that, and 9 times out of 10, you're probably wrong.
Does the tattoo say "I beat my children"? If not, then so what?
Yeah, right. These people are ridiculous. They are absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's
because it's funny.
That's why you knew when this started, when they started pushing this on kids, they were going to weaponize children's services. Children's services, to a large degree, in all of these cases, are weaponized. I mean, I've heard horror stories from friends that have told me basically the state just stepped in and kidnapped their kids. And in some cases, it was because the husband and the wife ended up down on their luck. They ended up being living in a shitty situation where they weren't in a well-kept house or anything like that, or because they just had to take what they could get or something like that. And then some CPS worker that was all holier than thou would come through, and then next thing you know, their kid gets snatched because they say, oh, they're living in a terrible environment, or they say something he said, she said about the dad or about the mom, and then next thing you know, kid gets snatched out of the home. And none of these claims are proven. They don't do their due diligence. They don't go through and try to actually investigate and get evidence. They just pull the kid out of the home. I mean, and when you have a system as corrupt as what most children's services are in each state, in each city, it's so easy to corrupt something like that. And that's why they corrupted the DOJ so easily and all these 3-letter agencies, because a lot of these 3-letter agencies shouldn't even exist. But the way the intelligence community apparatus is right now, we're inundated with 3-letter agency for everything and then some. There's way too many of them. And a lot of them are used as fronts for nefarious purposes.
There are two things that, going back to the whole, and I'm going to take the high road on this, kidnapping of children by CPS and the government. There are two things that go into that. One, I believe, is the concept of if you have a career, no matter what that career is, you want to, I don't know about gain notoriety, but you want to advance. You want opportunities for advancement. You want people to notice that you're doing a good job. So you may very well be ambitious is the wrong word, but enough to where you will fudge certain things. And obviously that's unethical and downright awful, but you will do that to, and it result in a lot of kids being removed from the home that shouldn't be. The other thing that goes into it is society. And what I mean by that is the fact that you have one side of the spectrum where every child has to live in a Norman Rockwell painting. The other side of the spectrum, and these people obviously I don't agree with, believe that, you should be able to beat your child into submission until they obey your every command. Now, for that reason, as long as there's going to be people that believe it's kidnapping, there's going to be people that believe there's no such thing as CPS kidnapping your children, and that every time they take a child, it's right. And that's why it's technically, you go between technically or however you feel, it's not kidnapping if the legislation has been passed.
Well, look, part of the reason society's so soft now is because we can't whoop a kid's ass. The kids need their ass whipped because they wouldn't be acting out and being stupid as they are right now if there were stable fucking homes. Okay, look, I did something wrong when I was a kid. I caught a belt across the ass, and there was a reason for that because it teaches you consequences.
Well, I think that's part of the problem as a society. We got to the point where they think that disciplining a child is now abuse.
Exactly.
I still come from the place of it's your kid, it's not my business. Outside of obvious things, it's not my business.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there if I had a kid and punch my kid in the nose, but you'd best damn believe if they get out of line, I'm going to whoop their ass. They are going to catch an ass whipping, and that's going to be that.
I've been in public many times, and I have seen parents do something as small when their children, like their children yells out, or their children, they're impolite to another person, where they'll just get like a little nudge, like a little nudge. And sorry, Drew, if I'm boring you, don't go. Somebody wake him up when I'm done. But I will see other parents get this self-righteous Karen look on their face, like they just saw somebody take out a whip and blind their child by hitting them in the eye with it.
I'll tell you what, I seen something similar to that in a Walmart one time. Well, so there was
Walmart's
this,
a perfect place to witness it. If you ever want to see this kind of thing, go to Walmart.
I seen this mother and her kid, whatever it was, the new phone that was just out, and this kid starts, I want that new phone, Mommy. And she's like, well, dear, I don't have that kind of money for that phone right now. You don't understand. I want it now. This kid starts screaming at this mother, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, shit, that kid would have got a fucking backhand by now, like talking to me like that. You're going to get it for me now or else, like that. And luckily, I didn't have to say nothing because there was this awesome black lady behind me, and she's like, I'd smack the shit out of that kid by now. I was like, I know, right?
and you would have said something, right?
Oh, I was about to say something, but luckily she said it for me because I don't have a chill factor when it comes to things like that, and I say the most ignorant shit in public. So, could you imagine?
With older people, they call that a filter, I believe. But
the collectivists realize, as RR says at 619, he put it perfectly. Collectivists realize you capture the kids, you have the future. They've been very successful. And that's the thing. And look, CJ, yes, child abuse does happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't look out for kids that are abused. But there's a line between discipline and abuse, and people have to understand how to walk that. That was one thing that my parents got. I caught a spank and I caught an ass whooping when I did shit wrong. And that was to be expected. And then when
I caught a few, Drew. Can you imagine? Small guinea pig. The best one though. My dad. God damn, I forget what I did, but I had really pissed him off that day. He picked up my old Star Wars Imperial blaster and started hitting me with that. Well, these things were solid as hell, man.
Dude,
that's,
you
that's
remember?
Hard, man.
No, man, I would catch the good old school belt or the paddles. Shit, when we went to school, if we acted out in school, if you went to the principal's office, you got the fucking paddle. You didn't get no timeout bullshit or nothing like that. You got the fucking paddle, man. I mean, and this was the thing, that kept people in line because it taught you consequences. And that's the problem. There's so many of these fucking young people now that feel like they can act out and do what they want because there ain't no consequences. They want what they want right now. They got the instant gratification fucking mindset because, again, their parents spoiled them instead of teaching them to work for the things that they wanted or set a goal.
Drew, how many of those parents, it wasn't so much that they spoiled the kids, that they were living in fear of what the government might do to them if they thought that they weren't treating them well enough, and they said it was some kind of abuse. Because at one point they came up with this mental abuse bullshit, and they were pushing that on parents as well.
It's just what they've done, between the pussification of America and then the brainwashing of so many different people. It's a crying shame about all of it, because and I'll tell this story, and listen, this is back from, I want to say, probably about 2007-ish, around there. I was working at a YMCA, and we had a basketball league for the younger kids. And
I love this story.
And the coaches, and I was a coach. And these kids were school age kids. I want to say probably around, anywhere from fourth to sixth grade, and somewhere about there. But the thing was they got mad at me. There were parents that complained about my coaching style, because, at the beginning we were keeping score in the games, and my team was undefeated because I taught the kids, A, how to practice right, and B, that you play to win the game. You play to win the game.
Little Herm Edwards.
And that's what I said. If you're not playing to win, then you ain't doing it right. I was like,
you're damn right. You're damn right. It's got to be first place or nothing, because almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and thermonuclear weapons.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is,
in that order, mind you.
And the thing is, they actually changed the structure of the fucking league, stopped keeping score in the games, and then I got reprimanded, by the guy that was the director of the league and the co-assistant director of the YMCA. He's basically my boss. And he said, you can't coach the kids to play defense that hard, and you can't coach the kids to win. I said, why? And he said, well, because he's like, and you have to play everybody on your team. I said, I give everybody on the team an opportunity to be in the game. He's like, yeah, but you don't put in some of the other kids until the end when your team's up by a lot of points. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I was like, I want to win. And he's like, well, this league isn't about that. The parents want to see their children in the game. I said, all right, fine. And I finished out the season, but I didn't go back. I never volunteered to coach basketball again, because yes, I understand the game of basketball. I like coaching it. I like making a difference in kids' lives. And the parents of the kids that I coached were very happy that I coached their kids, because I taught them something about sports and I taught them about competing. But the parents outside of the kids on my team apparently didn't like my coaching style. And
they ruined that for you, man.
And neither did my boss. So I didn't go back.
I hate the fact that they ruined that for you, because you tell me all the time how much you enjoy doing that. You enjoy the coaching, you enjoy teaching people the game that you love, and they ruin that for you. And it kills me that happened to you to this day.
And I can't in good conscience, because when I grew up playing sports, whether it was soccer, whether it was basketball, whether it was football, I left it out on the field and I played to win. and there was no other way to play sports. That was just how it was. And I can't coach any other way.
Just win, baby.
I mean, you play the game with sportsmanship, but you play to win.
Oh God, that is sad, Rita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Nick, you're right about that. I miss that, dude. That was one of my favorite jobs I've had in my lifetime. Was getting an opportunity to coach basketball. But no, I hate how we were asleep, and this happened, by the way, when we were kids too. You guys, they went and they sat there and slow drip. Well, I don't even want to say slow dripped, man. They just had all of this shit in place and were slowly but surely brainwashing society, even back when we were kids. Because and CJH was right about this. Like, the events of history, you can call all of it into question. You really can call all of it into question, because if anything from the sinking of the Titanic to 9/11, you can call it into question. There's been so many different psyops, so many different distraction events. I mean, it's just, and it never stops. The cycle never stops.
Yesterday was the anniversary of the Titanic, in fact.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is, who didn't die? The central banking cartel that were scheduled to be on it.
They definitely, I mean, they let Bruce Ismay into the boat.
Yep. Radioactive.
I know the movie makes it come off like that he snuck in.
Well put, Radioactive.
Who are we kidding?
Well put, Radioactive. Absolutely.
The Overton window.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. But
why didn't I think of that?
But listen, so much shit is happening right now in our world, folks, and all that I can continue to preach to you guys is discernment. You got to have the discernment. You got to develop the bullshit radar and be able to filter out what's a psyop, what's not, and also having a keen eye on the street level of reality. A lot of the lessons learned in our lives are learned at street level. They're not learned on a phone. They're not learned anything else. They're learned out in public, when you're walking the streets, when you're people watching, when you're paying attention, when you yourself are put in adverse situations. That's how you learn. That's how you really understand reality. And, then it just magnifies the absurdity of what you see on the television and what you see in our mass media and entertainment and every other leisure pursuit and institution that has been infected by this woke virus. Because
I think also a big thing that needs to be done is, like, a lot of these people, when they see this stuff happen, they need to be able to call it out. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to go nuts on these people, but you got to call bullshit when you see it, because there's one thing that most of these people that are pushing these kind of agendas are: they're nothing but bullies. And as long as they feel like they have the upper hand, they will keep screaming in your face. The minute you hit them with some cold, hard facts and you actually debunk what they're trying to push on you or whatever narrative that they're trying to spin, they usually slink away. You see it all the time on Twitter. Like, I see it constantly on Twitter. The minute I debunk this kind of nonsense, they just slink away from the argument because they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing to counter you with. And if they don't have the upper hand being the bully, they are going to tuck tail and run.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it, right now, and Nick is right about this. We got to find some way to remove these people from their positions of power. And I don't even know, folks, if we're going to get our justice. I don't know if we're going to get our justice, and I mean that because I don't think these people are going to ever answer for these crimes, because these are, we call stuff that, that old saying, crime of the century. These are literally the crimes of the century. I don't understand how these people can't be accountable for them, but they likely won't ever be accountable for them.
Well, you know what? I think in a way, though, Drew, they're a little bit scared because of the precedent they set with Trump in New York City. So they see that they've opened up a can of worms now. This is why they are so intent on trying to remove people like Clarence Thomas and some of these other conservative voices from the Supreme Court. Or maybe they're going to take another look at trying to pack the court. That's why they want to do this, because they want to try to skew everything in their favor so they don't pay the consequences of the bag of, or should I say, the can of worms that they just opened.
Well, they don't even want Democrats in there, Tommy. They don't, not traditional ones, not Kennedy style ones. They want the progressives. They want everything to be, quote, progressive. That's the major issue here. And that is going to be their undoing. These people have way too much false sense of security, and I still do believe that there are enough people that are going to get sick of this shit that are eventually going to find the gumption in them to do whatever it takes to overthrow the corruption, even if it takes watering the tree of liberty, if you know what I mean. But all I could say is right now, I'm praying for our country, and I truly believe at some point we're going to find a way out of this. And those of us,
Rita poses a good question. How can we remove them from their positions of power? They cheat to win. I'm so jaded anymore and just don't know what we can do. Well, one of the things that we can do is actually when these people are spinning a false narrative, especially maybe people that may be in your circles or, right on the edge of your circles, give them truth. Give them truth. Make them think about what they're doing. Give them something that counters their ideology to make them actually do a little bit of intelligence gathering on their own. And they'll probably be able to come to the realization that what they are being fed is spoon-fed bullshit.
Exactly. All right, we are going on 6:35 p.m. I just want to start to wind down a little bit because, I'm glad that taking this new internet. And by the way, folks, I was smart enough not to use the hotel Wi-Fi, because one of the things when you travel and you go to a hotel, never use hotel Wi-Fi. A, it's wide open, and B, it's low quality.
Oh, comrade, don't worry about hotel Wi-Fi. We have you covered.
So what I did was I went down to the T-Mobile store. I got one of T-Mobile's internet boxes, and I'm using the T-Mobile home internet, and it's actually not too bad. So
it's a good value too.
Yeah, I'm paying. It's a lot cheaper than when I had Spectrum. So I'm happy about that.
It's funny you say that. The only reason I'm able to be here, sitting here, instead of holding this thing in front of me, is because after 4 days, Spectrum finally got its ass act, whatever, and helped me fix my shit. So, I'm finally back online.
Yeah. Well, now you deal with Spectrum.
I am what you call a cautionary tale.
Yeah, now you deal with Spectrum, because I'm not going to.
I did, man, and I'll deal with them the next time too, because I procrastinate.
All right. Yeah. Oh, gee. I don't know that. All right. Well, let me.
I'm flipping you the bird off camera.
Let me go around the horn here. Let the fellas tell you where they can be found. One of these days, I can tell you, folks, we'll sometime he will make a channel. I don't know when. but I'll
Honestly,
let-
then that's the whole thing. I gotta leave Spectrum. I've been spending too much time just staying on, just fighting to stay online, and you know, seriously, Spectrum and Walmart can go fuck themselves. There, I said it. You're gonna lose your channel because of me.
Nah, all right. Well, eventually you'll be back.
Oh, I thought that was my outro. Okay.
All right. So eventually you'll be back. Tobat wants you to get off your ass and make a channel soon. So, all right, Tommy, tell them where you can be found.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't seen it, we are over here at Tommy and the Guinea Pig and Gremlin Collective. We thank you for joining us this evening for a nice talk about some of the things that are wrong politically in the world, and we hope that you will consider giving us a lot of water and feeding us after midnight. Be sure to check your fridge and watch for the little trails that the guinea pigs leave as they're running away, and they will lead you back to our channel where you'll see BattleBot action, toy reviews, and the guinea pigs popping up and let you know that you will be assimilated. Thank you for being here. Remember, never let any other human tell you what you can or can't say, what you should or should not watch. Because your silence gives consent, and we are going to assimilate you. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brightest Day, thank you so much for $5. Zach, it's good to see you. Actually, give me a call sometime soon, Zach, because I haven't caught up with you, and it'd be nice to chat with you. And Sean Estep says, "Will, Agent of Spectrum."
Oh, man. No wonder I'm not getting anything done.
This week on Will, Agent of Spectrum. Will, once again, is in a well.
This week on Agent of Spectrum, technical difficulties. Stay tuned.
Yeah, Dwayne says, "Glad you guys are back." Yeah, we're glad to be back. So, listen, it's been an experience because I'm literally just sitting here like streaming from the bed, just like sitting here chilling, But it's nice to be able to talk to you guys. For the moment, I'm doing pretty good on my computer power because the laptop I did upgrade it today, and all of you computer nerds out there will be happy because this laptop I have, it has 8 gigs of RAM, and it only had a 256 gig hard drive, but yet they call this Lenovo laptop a gaming computer because it does have like a Ryzen 5 in it, and it has a 3050 Ti for gaming. So, I actually did turn this into a gaming computer. I went and spent basically $120. I got an additional 8 gigs of RAM, which brought it to 16. And then I also added a 2 terabyte Samsung SSD in this thing, a nice little one of those little, NVMe drives. And it was able to be slotted in like 1, 2, 3. And then, now I've got the storage and the computing to be able to do some stuff. So now I can stream. Now I'll be able to game. I won't have to sit here every night and just be watching true crime documentaries on Investigation Discovery. I can actually play video games. So here we go. So I will talk to you guys
On
soon.
behalf of Investigation Discovery, you'll be missed.
Yeah. I will talk to you guys soon. I will be in touch. I will definitely keep you updated as far as when I get an apartment and find a roof over my head. I will let you guys know, but at least we know that streaming works now, and I'll be able to come back and do United Resistance on the go. And I'm glad that you guys showed up, came out, checked this out. This was a makeup for Tuesday since I was super busy Tuesday and couldn't do it, but also I didn't know at that point in time if streaming was going to work. And so now I know. So this coming up this Tuesday, we'll do a more structured episode of United Resistance. And of course, don't forget, tomorrow night at midnight, we will do Midnight Prism, and I will see you then. I'll be there. RR will be there modding, because he has to hear the crazy Midnight Prism intro. He loves it. And thanks you, everyone, for just hanging out and supporting the channel as you always do. And I love you guys. And I will see you soon. So take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Good night.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
Hey, welcome to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm E. Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
I am the Patriot, True Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? You didn't get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tone Death, rockin'.
I mean, we have a lot of cool things over there. I did some magic tricks.
Hi, guys. Try to stay here.
My name is Monkey Knight.